Rachel Scheer here. I am a DFW clinical nutritionist and I received my bachelor's in nutrition and dietetics from Baylor University. So I'm here today with Miss Tawna Eubanks. Tawna is an IFBB Bikini pro who just recently competed in the Olympia. So Tawna, why don't you tell them a little bit about who you are?
Hey guys, I am Tawna Eubanks. I am here locally in DFW. I have been a fitness professional, an IFBB Bikini pro, and athlete for the past 8 years, and that is actually how I met Rachel, and I decided that I wanted to come and get some testing done.
So Tawna initially came to me with a few different health concerns, a few of it skin related, breaking out a little bit, and a little bit of fatigue as well. So initially we wanted to do maybe a food sensitivity test, but after getting to know a little bit more about Tawna's background, we decided that the best route to go would be with a micronutrients analysis. So today we're going to be diving in a little bit deeper as into what is a micronutrient and why is it so important.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of information that goes into it, and I'm still learning it along the way, but we wanted to film this and video it so that it can be more informative to you on why I did the testings that I did, because there's a ton of different lab tests that you can run, even more that I'm thinking about probably doing here in the future, and just how it can help with not just the acne and the skin, but a lot more. And there's more into gut health and micronutrients. Everybody knows macros but not micros, so a lot of information to come, and this is just what we did for me and what was going on with myself. So now we're gonna go and check out those tests.
Go take a look. So Tawna, last time you came in, we ran a micronutrients analysis on you. We got some different results. I know initially you came in dealing with some different skin issues, you were breaking out. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened, but you know, I just all of a sudden started to experience some acne. Well, at first it maybe wasn't acne, it was just a few pimples here or there, and then it just kept progressively getting worse and worse and worse. So probably I would say over like a year's span, it just got to where it was just bumps all over my cheeks, starting from like the temples, and then I noticed a lot like right up above where my eyebrows were and on my chin. So, you know, at first I thought that it was hormonal. So I went to an endocrinologist and got some lab results done, and then she ended up telling me that my hormones were fine. Then that's when I reached out to you, and then we checked those labs from the endo doctor, and then that's when you realized something else was very wrong.
You know, we looked over your labs, and immediately what jumped out to me was your vitamin D levels. After looking at your labs, you had really, really low vitamin D levels.
Yeah.
And that can be a huge factor in the skin. So vitamin D actually almost works kind of like a hormone in a way. Vitamin D is also very anti-inflammatory. It's mood boosting as well. So nowadays, especially since we live in Texas, we're not out in the sun that much. We're all trying to, you know, prevent skin cancer too. So, you know, we're wearing sunscreen, so we're not getting adequate vitamin D intake on a daily basis. The reason I like Vibrance micronutrient analysis is because it looks at all of your micronutrients. So it's going to look at your fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, and K. It's going to look at all your water-soluble vitamins, your B vitamins. It's going to look at also your antioxidants. It's going to look at metabolites, and then it's also going to look at your omega-3 index. So your anti-inflammatory fatty acids, as well as your pro-inflammatory. So all of these, in the grand scheme of things, you know, are very important to training, to skin, to your immune system. So one other thing that Vibrant does is we look at the short and long-term nutritional status. So with this test, we were able to see where you were at when we drew you, but also where you were over the course of the last 4 to 6 months as well.
Yeah, and I remember even feeling, you know, I knew that I was like lethargic and tired because when you're on prep or when you're low in food and fuel, you're tired. So I'm just thinking, okay, well, this is part of the process. But, as soon as we got me on just the vitamin D, we hadn't even run any of the tests yet that came back to tell me what else I was highly deficient in. Just the vitamin D alone, I could tell it was really working. I was feeling better. So yeah, that was really crazy for me to see too. And that wasn't even a test that we had run. That was
just looking at what your endocrinologist ran. And typically if you go to the doctor, they run a few different micronutrients tests. They may run some vitamin D, they may run B12. So I like to look at the big picture of everything and really see what's going on within the body. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at your labs from the last time. We knew at first you were deficient in vitamin D from your endocrinologist. So after running these labs, we saw quite a bit more deficiencies, which was expected. I've run this test on quite a few people, and honestly, no one has a perfect micronutrient status. But what this gives us the ability to do is really create a custom supplement plan for you, very much tailored to your body as well. So let's take a closer look here. So you'll first notice that you had a deficiency in 2 of the B vitamins, vitamin B1, which is also known as thiamine, and also vitamin B6. So vitamin B1 in the serum you are actually deficient in. So the way this lab is laid out is it looks at your short-term and your long-term nutritional status. So your serum micronutrients is going to be your short-term micronutrient status. Well, the white blood cell is actually going to be your micronutrient status over the course of 4 to 6 months. So as you can see here with thiamine or vitamin B1, you were very, very deficient with less than 0.1 when the range goes from 2.2 all the way to 107. But that was just in your short-term nutritional status. And over the course of time, you've actually been in a pretty good optimal range. But for some reason, and it may have been due to prep, in your diet, you became deficient when we actually ran that test. Thiamine is actually really important for breaking down carbs, fats, and protein for energy. So oftentimes when you don't get enough thiamine in the diet, you can get symptoms of fatigue and low energy as well. Now, this was a little bit interesting. So your vitamin B6 in the serum was actually normal. And then your vitamin B6 in the white blood cell, so your long-term nutritional status, was very deficient. So this is actually a pretty good indicator of there may be a little bit of an absorption issue. So regardless, with these B vitamins, this is why we started you on the B complex that you're now taking.
This is going to be super helpful for not just what I was coming in here for, which was my first and foremost was my skin and what's wrong with my skin, my acne. But now we're getting into me being able to actually do good in the gym, perform good and build good muscle, and not just eat food and then it just goes into nowhere.
And you're a little bit of a hard gainer, correct?
Oh, yeah.
You're very lean. You can get down to that low body fats, but when it comes to building muscle, you got to work your butt off.
Yeah, it doesn't happen at all.
So B6 has a huge role in that protein synthesis. So this is going to have a huge impact, I think, on your training as well. Another thing to note on vitamin B6 is it also helps convert tryptophan into serotonin. So serotonin is a happy neurotransmitter in the brain. So sometimes if we get low vitamin B6, it can also cause symptoms of depression, anxiety, because serotonin is also mood boosting as well.
Yes, I want to be happy.
Alrighty, but overall, the rest of your B vitamins looked great in optimal status. It was really just your vitamin B1 and your B6, which we are going to bring up back to optimal status with some B complex vitamins. So the next one we saw that you were deficient in, which we already knew, was the vitamin D. We already had started you on a vitamin D supplement, even though we did the test, but this just already confirmed that you were pretty low in vitamin D. Like I said before, vitamin D we get through the sun, and most of the population is actually deficient in vitamin D. So most everyone should honestly be on some sort of a vitamin D supplement. Vitamin D is also very important for hormone production. It's also very much so mood boosting, and it also helps with the formation of bone within the body too. So it kind of works hand in hand with calcium as well as K2. So you'll see there also that you were deficient in vitamin K1 as well as K2. So the supplement you're taking, vitamin D, also has K2 in it, because vitamin D and vitamin K2 actually work very synergistically together. They're both fat-soluble vitamins, so they help with the absorption together. Vitamin K2 is important for blood clotting, so oftentimes if you're deficient, you can bruise pretty easily as well. Vitamin K2 is actually found in a lot of different fermented foods as well. So sometimes if you have maybe some intestinal permeability or other type of absorption issues, vitamin K2 can also be depleted as well. So we're doing vitamin D with K2 to kind of work together to bring up those levels.
Okay, awesome. And so I wouldn't have to take like a vitamin K, so it's like easier.
Yeah, you really want to take those together.
And it's like, as you know, I'm deficient in so many things because it's my fault, right? Like I did not take vitamins.
Yes and no. So some of it you honestly can't help, and some of it comes back to genetics. So,
right.
Like I said, you could give two different people the exact same diet, the same foods, maybe even the same supplements, but they would have completely different micronutrients results because of the way their body absorbs and utilizes those micronutrients. So yes, there may be some of it that you could have done, through more nutrient variety with your diet, maybe some supplementation, but also of it may be very genetic based as well.
Okay. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Just a little bit.
All right, so let's go on to your minerals. So the next one I want to look at with your minerals is going to be zinc. So you may have heard of zinc before with the immune system. And every time people get a cold, they do those zinc supplements, those little nasal things that you stick up your nose. If you get a cold, it can help prevent against that. So zinc is one of those minerals that is essential for the immune system. It also helps with the structure of proteins as well as cell membranes, as well as releasing hormones. Okay. So in your short-term nutritional status, you were pretty low on zinc. But over the long course of time, you were at optimal levels. One other thing I wanted to note here is your copper levels. So copper and zinc are actually antagonists to each other. So if you have really high copper levels, zinc goes down, and kind of vice versa. So what's really interesting about your report is in your white blood cell, again, your long-term nutritional status, you had elevated copper levels. And then in your short-term nutritional status of zinc, you were deficient in zinc. So high copper, low zinc. So to help bring down your copper levels, which copper can actually get to toxic levels, while zinc, it cannot. We are supplementing with zinc to also help maybe bring down some of that copper as well too. Okay. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone with that zinc supplement. Also, studies have shown when your zinc to copper ratio is high, it can also be manifested through the skin with breakouts like you're experiencing. It can also cause symptoms of anxiety and depression as well.
Wow.
But overall, with your other minerals, your calcium looks great, which works hand in hand with your vitamin D levels. Your iron status looks really good. A lot of women tend to be deficient in iron due to, not eating a lot of red meat or things like that. So your iron status looks pretty good. Overall, you're a little bit low in zinc and a little bit high in copper with your minerals.
Cool. Not too bad in the mineral department.
Not too bad for someone not supplementing. So let's take a look at your metabolites. So metabolites is an interesting area of the micronutrients. So the one I want to talk about with you is actually inositol. So inositol, it helps with cell signaling and insulin receptors as well. It also helps move fats out of the liver. But studies have also shown that low levels of inositol can cause symptoms of depression. And then supplementing with higher levels of inositol can actually help counteract symptoms of anxiety and depression as well. So your inositol levels on the long-term nutritional status in the white blood cells was pretty low. But your short-term nutritional status, it was optimal.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, a lot of people haven't. A lot of people have not heard of inositol. It's in a lot of things like prunes, so probably not a lot in your diet.
I don't eat prunes. I like them.
Grapefruit.
I just don't eat them. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Molasses. So it's in a lot of kind of weird foods like that. You can supplement with inositol. But we may just kind of watch it the next time we test and kind of see where your nutritional status is, because when we tested you, your range was fine.
Okay.
It just was the long-term nutritional status that was a little bit low. Other metabolites looked pretty good. L-carnitine. I love looking at L-carnitine because that has a huge role in energy production as well as depression, symptoms, anxiety, but your carnitine levels looked great. Choline was great. Electrolytes, great, sodium and potassium. Definitely getting in plenty of amino acids, which is no surprise, kind of as a bodybuilder, IFBB Bikini Pro, you have a pretty high protein diet. So I would be very, very surprised if you were ever deficient in any of the amino acids. So if anything, your long-term nutritional status was even a little bit high in those, which is fine, unless you had any type of issues with metabolizing protein or amino acids. That may be something to worry about, but you're in perfectly good health, so that's really nothing to be concerned about.
I take all those supplements.
Mm-hmm. We know you
all
take
my cringe muscle.
Yes. So the next area we'll see here is going to be antioxidants. One thing that you'll see here is in your short-term nutritional status, you were low in cysteine as well as glutathione. You may have heard of glutathione, probably not of cysteine. So a lot of women actually do glutathione injections because of the fact that glutathione is known as the major antioxidant within the body, kind of like the powerhouse antioxidant. And it's really great at preventing cell death. So a lot of women will actually do glutathione injections to help prevent aging within the body. So your long-term nutritional status of glutathione was optimal, whereas your short-term nutritional status was a little bit low.
Okay.
The only hard thing about glutathione is it's not very well absorbed orally, so we really can't supplement with it. The only option would be to do, like IV intravenous glutathione. But what we can do is
the worst thing possible for me.
Yeah,
more IVs.
Not a fan of needles. We know that now. So what we actually did instead, though, is we supplemented with some precursors for the glutathione. ALA and cysteine are both precursors to help make glutathione, and you really want to have your own production of glutathione at its optimal levels and really not have to rely on doing injections. And like I said, oral glutathione doesn't really absorb very well or is utilized very well anyway. So because you were low in cysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione, we started supplementing with some cysteine, and we may even add in some ALA, which is alpha lipoic acid, which is another precursor to glutathione. Okay. So kind of indirectly supplementing with those to help bring up your glutathione levels as well.
See, omegas are low, is that what?
Yeah, so the next area of this test looked at your omega-3 and omega-6s. So most of the population has a pretty high amount of omega-6s. So omega-6s are actually pro-inflammatory. They promote inflammation within the body. Where omega-3s, think, salmon, fish oils, things like that, they're actually anti-inflammatory. So when we look at your omega-3s and omega-6s, so omega-3s, EPA, DPA, and DHA, you had pretty normal levels there. When we look at your omega-6s, your lauric acid and arachidonic acid, you also had normal nutritional status there. But then we kind of wonder, okay, so then why is your omega-3 index off? So as you remember me saying, omega-3s are pro-inflammatory, omega-6s are anti-inflammatory. So we want to have a little bit more of the omega-3s than we do the omega-6s. So more anti-inflammatory than we do pro-inflammatory. Even though you were within range, you didn't have as much of the omega-3s as I would have liked. So kind of throwing off your omega-3 index a little bit.
Okay.
So that is sort of why we started you on some omega-3s, EPA, DHA, to kind of just bring up your omega-3 status a little bit higher to kind of help with that index there. Looking at your omega-6s, with them being in range, that is actually awesome, considering that most of the population tends to actually have elevated omega-6s because of all the processed foods they eat,
Right.
you know, vegetable oils, industrial seed oils, things like that. So those are very high in omega-6s. So with your diet that you're doing right now, you're not getting any excess omega-6s, promoting any excess inflammation. We just may want to supplement with some omega-3s to add in some more anti-inflammatory properties, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably I could use a little bit more good healthy fats in my diet as well.
Yes, good healthy fats, omega-3s. We all know they're found in things like salmon. They're also found in a lot of other different types of fish as well too. But overall, I mean, yes, we did have some deficiencies, but these deficiencies were there, you know, regardless whether, you know, we checked them or not. But what's great about this is it's really giving us the tools to create a custom supplement protocol for you. So after the last time we met, we got you started on a B complex. We did some vitamin D3 with K2. We started you on some zinc to kind of help with that zinc to copper ratio. And then we also added in some omega-3 EPA DHA. Yeah. So we've started that supplementation. How have you been feeling over the last few months since we did that?
Well, I will say at first, and the first time that we did go over the sheet, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like so much pills I'm gonna have to take, which, you know, for me, that was the whole reason I never even took vitamins to begin with, was because I was just pure lazy, right? Like, I have to take supplements, I have to do cardio, I have to go to the gym, I have to get my meals in. I don't want to take anything else. I'm done. Like, it was my fault as far as that. It was just pure laziness. So when you're telling me all of this, I'm fearing, oh my gosh, this is going to be like 20 different pills, when actually it was only 4 or 5 different pills. Yeah. So I was actually pleasantly surprised when it came down to that. And since I have been taking them, I noticed a drastic difference. Just really and truly, I saw the difference in my skin, but in my energy. I wasn't quite so lethargic or just like that weak feeling. And it was almost instant that I could see something whenever I started taking that vitamin D. And then when we added in everything else, it's just slowly and progressively gotten better. It's by no means everything is, I'm just like cured and I'm healed, but it definitely made a difference. And I noticed drastically the skin. It just has cleared up so much. It wasn't so heavy and thick bumps. It was just, it's calming down. And I know, you know, just like with anything, it takes time, but had you told me even just a year ago, look at your vitamins and see, you know, what's going on there, that's probably going to help you clear up your skin or how you feel, I probably would have called you a liar. But I'm a believer. So it's definitely been helping. I can feel a difference and see the difference. So
awesome. And like you said, it doesn't happen overnight. As you can see here, this was looking at, you know, the short-term status, but also the long-term status. So things you do with your diet, the foods you eat, the supplements you take, I mean, that's going to have an impact, and actually shows up in your blood work, you know, even 4-6 months down the road of something you ate way back then, because of the micronutrients and everything's within your food. So diet plays a huge role in everything that we do. I know that, you know, carbohydrates are important, fats, protein, you know, for weight loss, muscle building, overall health, but also looking at it more on a molecular level. So all of your micronutrients, it can really take someone, you know, who may feel fine, they may be good, they may be okay, you know, with how they're feeling, but take someone who feels maybe good to that optimal status, which is what we're doing with you. So you felt good, you know, your training was great. You know, maybe you had a little bit of symptoms, maybe some things with the skin, maybe sometimes a little bit low energy, even though you're in prep. But what we're able to do is, with this custom protocol, is really take you from good to optimal, you know, with your training, with your energy levels, with your skin, everything like that, to really fill in all of the gaps so you can feel your best.
Absolutely. I'm so excited too, because, you know, it's one thing to be an athlete and to be a pro athlete, but to find out the hidden details that can make you an even better athlete and perform better and feel better. So I'm really excited for the results to continue to happen and see what else we can figure out and fix along the way.
Yeah.
Because I guess nobody's perfect, right?
Nope. I mean, honestly, I've run this test on many people, and I've never had a perfect report. So I know oftentimes you look at this and you think, oh my gosh, I'm so deficient, you know, I don't have good health. But honestly, everyone has some sort of deficiency. But you're definitely a step ahead of most people by coming in, you know, seeing what's actually happening within your body, and now taking, you know, the measures to do something about it too. So I'm super excited for you, and in the next 6 months we'll probably recheck, kind of see where we're at, you know, where your micronutrient status is, if you're still deficient in anything, you know, if we're in optimal ranges, if we have any excesses going on too. And kind of go from there, just really making sure you're progressing as desired, feeling your best, taking it, you know, one day at a time.
Awesome. That sounds good. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right. Okay, guys, so I know that can feel very overwhelming. It is for me, and this is my second time to hear the exact same spiel. It's a lot of information, but that's why you have a professional who does it. And that's why we wanted to make this video for you, is to just kind of let you in on what all it's about and what I did. Everybody's different, and you know, I went through a really rough time. I was not feeling comfortable with myself on the appearance, and then even on the inside, and some things that I didn't know that I was feeling that kind of help explained, oh, this is why you feel this way, not just prep mode. So I didn't ever realize how important this would be. I know that it's a very heavy way of saying it, but you have initially kind of changed my life here, because I went through a really rough patch right there with that acne and the, you know, the bad skin and everything that I do in the public eye. So it was kind of an emotional roller coaster for me. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. I hope that this is very helpful for other women and men too, that are experiencing kind of the same issues. So I really appreciate all of your help.
And you're so very welcome. Honestly, it's been amazing working with you, and I look forward to honestly see your progression, as well as, you know, what you do with your future, with all of your passion for fitness, nutrition, you know, and you helping, as well as a lot of the clients that you work with. I enjoy helping people, and I work with people from all over. My practice is here in McKinney, kind of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And if you want some more information on how to book a consult or anything on wellness testing, feel free to check out my website. It is www.rachelscheer.com, and I have all the information on what we go over during a consult, different types of wellness testing that I offer, as well as any other questions you might have.
Yeah, guys, and I will have all of her information in the description box below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for tuning in.